KP, can you hear me? KP, hello? Hello, KP, can you hear me? I can hear online. Hello, KP. Are we good? Let's continue. Hello, can you hear me from the hall?
Are you talking to me?
No, sir. I'm not.
Trouble one kill, and you find it hard to pay your bills, and your life seems like it's on the hills, and you struggle for a 3-square meal. If you hear the other man's story, people give God glory. My brother, life where we live no begins, but you can achieve your dreams. So my brother, stand up, anything you do, make you doing well, no matter what it takes. Make you get your pay, you believing well, no matter what they say, men get up and stand up. Anything you do, make you doing well, no matter what it takes. Make you get your pay, you believing well, no matter what they say men get up and kalangolo. Like a hustle to the everybody kalangolo. From your joy you divine. Then you gotta kalangolo. Kalangolo for me.
Hello. 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 Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to specially welcome you. Before we get into the nitty-gritty for today, I'd like to start by introducing myself. I am Kala Dakoru Batbo, and once again, you're welcome. Before I do my introductions, I would like to invite to the podium to brief us on safety. It's very essential that we understand safety measures as we start this event. I will invite to the podium Ben Apute to help us with our safety briefing. Please, Ben, if you can hear me, to the podium. Thank you very much.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. All right, quickly, we're just going to start. This is the J Signature Event Hall, and as the MC has mentioned, we don't take safety for granted. So you're seated here, and I'm sure for everybody that came in, you probably came in through the door right here, the entrance door. Now we have 3 emergency doors here, one to the back, one right here to my left at the extreme end, and another one here, and of course, the door that you came in. We don't expect that we'll have any drill or alarm, but in case you hear any alarm, whether it's drill or not, please, we are going to file out in an orderly manner, taking the doors that are close to you. So again, I'll go through them. We have one to my left, closer to the podium, one down there, the extreme end to the left, another one, the extreme end to my right, and of course, the door that you came in. Now, if you go out through this door, to my very right, you have the convenience, ladies, and as well as the gentlemen. So it's important that you please look at the label on the door for you to ascertain where exactly you're going to walk into. Now, if you go right outside where you have the car park to my right, it's also the muster point. So you want to also find yourself there when you have an alarm. If you go through any of these doors, the muster point is just by the pool side behind us. We don't expect that we'll have any disruption. Please, you probably will give a high five to your city mates. Can you give a high five to your city mates? And say, welcome to today's event. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for Mr. David Akute. All right, once again, I am Kala Dakoru Batbo, and I would like to welcome you to this year's edition of the Nigerian Prize for Literature. As you know, this is one of the biggest literary events in the continent, and the Rainbow Book Club is one of the, if not the major organizer of the Nigerian Prize for Literature. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown. The Nigerian Prize for Literature Bookfest for Writers shortlisted for the 2024 edition of the $100,000 Nigeria Prize for Literature, endowed and promoted by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, has been scheduled as followed. The shortlisted entries are Wishmaker by Uchechukwu Peter Umezurike, A Father's Pride by Indidi Chiazo Enemo, The Road Does Not End by Olubumi Fami Loni. The Nigeria Prize for Literature, once again sponsored by the Nigeria LNG Limited, was inaugurated in 2004. The prize money of $50,000 was later raised to $100,000, the biggest of its kind in Africa. The Nigeria Prize for Literature Bookfest was launched in 2022, or the Rbc, I beg your pardon, Nigeria Prize for Literature Bookfest was launched in 2022 as a platform through which the public gets to engage with the works of the writers on the shortlist of the Nigeria Prize for Literature in the city of Port Harcourt, home of the Nigeria LNG and UNESCO Book Capital 2014. 2024 is a very essential and very pivotal year for the Nigeria Prize for Literature. One, because in 2014, like I already mentioned, Port Harcourt was the capital of the UNESCO Book Club, or Book Capital, I beg your pardon. Okay. I should say, sitting before wonderful dignitaries, I'm a little bit tensed up. I mean, seeing people like Sam Dede, people like Dr. Osfor, and it's usually not my style reading from a book. So I will go freestyle, and once again welcome all of you to this very wonderful occasion. It's very interesting because in our time and in our day, reading is fast becoming obsolete. We now have gadgets and things that, take our time. And so this Nigeria Prize for Literature is something that takes us back to reading. It is something that allows us to recognize authors, not just of the Nigerian descent, but from the continent Africa. It's a very important thing to note that Port Harcourt is rich in so many other things, but it also has wonderful authors, and it has so many things that we should take a look at. Usually, the Nigeria Prize for Literature, which started since 2009, a reception for 11 writers on the long list is held in Lagos at the Muson Center. It is hosted by the Committee for Relevant Artists, organizers of the Lagos Book and Arts Festival. The Lagos outing is usually titled A Book Party. Now, before it comes to Port Harcourt, like I've said, it goes through the book party. Now, in Port Harcourt, it is called the Bookfest. In 2022, the Rainbow Book Club project managers of the Port Harcourt World Book Capital and was commissioned to organize a reception for the writers on the shortlist in Port Harcourt. They have hosted this since 2022. Now, the significance of this is that I was trying to explain that Rivers State, Bonny and Port Harcourt, is the home of Nigeria LNG. The gas plant is in Bonny, while the head office is in Port Harcourt. This year, the reception for 3 writers on the shortlist, which is holding today, the highlights is the conversation and interaction with the 3 writers anchored by Ibelama Green, the moderator, with 2 children interviewing the writers. The evening will also feature stage performances, a quiz around the NPL, red carpet interviews, and dinner. As usual, the audience of about 300 guests this year would include the city's literary association, accommodations, influencers, pop culture stars, students, government leaders, and the press. At this point, I would like to invite to the podium for our welcome remarks the Rainbow Book Club founder, Mrs. Koko.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the literati of the city, our guest of honor, that's the writers on the shortlist, and everyone's VIP. My task is simple, and it's to welcome you to this auspicious occasion. But I want to give you a little information so we understand how important what Nigeria LNG is pursuing is to this nation. It's been reported that in the US, prison planners use reading scores of children aged 8 to 9 to predict the number of future prison beds needed. In short, there's a strong connection between early low literacy skills and incarceration rates. They had compelling statistics to underscore this point. For instance, 85% of young people who commit crime had low literacy rates. Secondary school dropouts were 3.5 times more likely to commit a crime in their lifetime than those who complete secondary school. Secondary school dropouts are 63% more likely to go to prison than their peers with university degrees. According to the US Department of Justice, the link between academic failure and delinquency, violence, and crime is welded to reading failure. Now let's come home to Nigeria. According to reports by UNICEF, in June 2024, Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children in the world. We're talking about an estimated 18.3 million. That is out of every 3 children. So we are in an education crisis. Now, of the population that do go to school, many cannot read, and they are therefore unlikely to get a secondary school education. The ability to read by the time a child is 10 is critical to their success in school and their lifelong learning potential. That's the UN Social Development Goal number 4. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is that if we don't take the task of getting Nigerian children to become proficient readers as a matter of national urgency, the price will be paid not only by individuals and families, but by the entire country. That's why the decision of Nigeria LNG to target literary enterprise through the Nigeria Prize for Literature is most commendable. I think LNG deserves a round of applause here. And the idea of dedicating a prize to children's storybooks is particularly laudable. At this point, we must thank the General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development for commissioning us to organize the hosting of the shortlisted writers in Port Harcourt. "2024 is an important year for the prize as it marks the 20th anniversary of the establishment of the Nigeria Prize for Literature. 2024 is also an important year to the city of Port Harcourt because 10 years ago, we were nominated UNESCO World Book Capital. We deserve a round of applause for that. To mark this significant milestone, the Rainbow Book Club has kicked off 2 exciting projects aimed mainly at young people. One we've called Raw Africa. That's the lion speaking, and it's stories of notable Africans for young readers. The second one we call Talking Books Africa. That's a monthly virtual conversation with our writers. The plan is to bring our stories out to ourselves and to the world. Why is it important that we own our narrative? An African proverb provides the answer, and it goes this way: until the lion tells the story, the hunter will always be the hero. This proverb presupposes that there are 2 versions to every story: the hunter's version and the lion's version. What is the hunter saying about us? Take Nigeria, for instance. According to the hunter, Nigeria is a land of corruption, underdevelopment, insecurity. But we know that that's only part of the story. It's not the full picture. Here comes the hunters, the lion's narrative. Nigeria is a land of world-class people, intellectuals like Claude Ake, Olympic gold medalists like Toby Amuson, business magnates like, yeah, we need to clap for them. They're putting us out there in positive light. Business magnates like Cosmos Maduka, internationally renowned economists like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, writers like Zainab Al-Khali. Let us drill down to River State. We've produced Nollywood stars like Sam Dede, Hilda Dokubo, great stage performers, Yibo Koko, artists like Diseye Tantua. How about our Grammy Award winner, Burna Boy? And Africa's first Miss World, Abani Darego. Just a few of them. Then, of course, there are the writers from this city, from this region. Elechi Amadi, blessed memory, Kaine Agari, and our current winner of the Nigeria Prize for Literature, Obari Gomba, who is here with us. So the lion needs to tell the story so that the children in this hall and those outside can know that we have what it takes to make a positive mark at home and in the world. Talking about the world, as a child, I traveled around the world through the pages of books I read at the public library on Bernard Carr Street and in my school libraries, Port Harcourt Primary School, Federal Government Girls College, Abuloma. But today, I would struggle to find a functional library for my children. What is the hope that my grandchildren would have a library to use in Port Harcourt, World Book Capital 2014? The World Book Capital title is not a trophy that decorates our walls, which we bring down from time to time, polish, and then admire and return it to its exalted position, hanging on the wall. It's rather a functional description reserved for a city that has made its mark on the world stage through activities around books and reading. A World Book Capital must have functional libraries. The World Book Capital City needs to revive and expand the over 200 book clubs that were set up in schools in 2014. The World Book Capital City needs to revive the full-fledged Port Harcourt Book Festival, which was actually more than a book festival. It was a festival of ideas and creativity. Talking about creativity, the 21st century education goes beyond the classroom. That's formal education. It goes to the theater, to the playground, to the market, to the dance floor. So we're talking of non-formal and informal education. That's why we launched the Rainbow Talent Hunt, a competition to discover, expose, and reward creativity. We threw the challenge out to children around Port Harcourt. The schools that you would see, or the children you would see performing here this evening, are the winning acts from that competition. On this stage, you'll teach us a thing or two about life. The highlight of today's gathering would be the interview with the 3 shortlisted authors for the Nigeria Prize for Literature. Uchechukwu Peter Omezurike, author of The Wishmaker. Ndidi Chiazo Enemo, author of A Father's Pride. And Olubumi Familoni, who will be joining us connecting from abroad, author of The Road Does Not End. For the first time, we would have children interview our authors. It promises to be an extraordinary event to which I invite you to sit back and enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the reception for the writers on the shortlist for the Nigeria Prize for Literature 2024. Welcome to Port Harcourt, home of Nigeria LNG. Welcome to Port Harcourt. UNESCO World Book Capital 2014.
D'un côté, si des femmes en Dieu. L'autre les fous.
All right, thank you, DJ. Thank you, DJ. Thank you. All right, going to the next item on the agenda, I would like to invite to the podium for sponsors address the GM External Relations and Sustainable Development, Nigeria LNG. And the person is Dr. Sophia Hosful. She is the GM External Relations and Sustainable Development, Nigeria LNG designate. Please, madam, welcome to the podium for your sponsors address. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause as she walks to the podium. Please, thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on previously established protocols. I give the remarks of our General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development, Mr. Andy Ode, for the shortlist of 3 for the Nigeria Prize for Literature 2024 here at this venue. I too want to welcome you all to Port Harcourt, the world's book capital. Today's event has become a very memorable and instructive part of the Nigeria Prize for Literature calendar, and I want to thank the Rainbow Book Club for pulling its weight to see to it that this event keeps happening in Port Harcourt. The heat and furore of this year's prize has been since last month during the Cora Book Party, when we celebrated the first 11 authors. It felt like the judges would have a Herculean task setting up for the top 3. Now here, we are at the list of the top 3 children's literature for 2024. Congratulations to Ndidi Chiazo Anomo, author of A Father's Pride. To Oluranti Olubumi, who wrote The Road Does Not End. And to Uche Umezurike for his Wishmaker, for topping the list of 163 entries submitted for this year's prize. Father's Pride was described by the advisory board for the prize as a touching story that delves into the complex relationship between a father and his children, highlighting their struggles with love, forgiveness, and understanding. And it truly captures the emotions that resonate deeply with the readers. For its part, The Road Does Not End dwells on critical issues of child labor in society and explores themes of resilience and human connection, emphasizing the importance of relationships and the need for continuous self-improvement. While The Wishmaker combines suspense, engagement, inspiration, and entertainment, and weaves moral lessons and elements of magic realism, captivating young readers. Let me return to our amiable partner and facilitator in making today's event possible, Coco Kalango and her Rainbow Book Club. Thank you again and again. This event has become an annual ritual, and it is indeed a step at restoring the glory of the Port Harcourt as the world's book capital. The first contest for children's literature genre was in 2007, and 2 literary icons, Mabel Shegun and Professor Kachi Edimora Ezegbo, now the chairwoman of the advisory board of the Nigeria Prize for Literature, jointly clinched the prize with their books, Reader's Theatre and My Cousin Sammy, respectively. That year, Uche Peter Umezurike's book, Sam and the Wallet, was the third shortlist. In 2011, Adeleke Mai Nasara, Adeyemi's The Missing Clock, won the prize, beating Chinyere Obi Obasi and Ayodele Olafin Tuade's Great Fall and Enos Story. In 2015, there was no winner, but an epic training was organized for Nigerian writers with the prize money. In 2019, Judy Dada, one of the long list of 2015 entries and participant in the training, emerged a resounding winner of the prize with his book Boom Boom, which beat Mystery at Ebenezer Lodge by Dunia Latunde and The Great Walls of Benin by O.T. Bego. In instituting the Nigeria Prize for Literature and the Nigeria Prize for Science, Nigeria LNG Limited sets out to stimulate excellence in both science and literature. So far, the prizes have enjoyed massive public goodwill, making them a huge success at home and abroad. We owe a lot to that success to most of you, authors, publishers, administrators, scholars, readers, scientists, journalists, and more. Anyone who's a lover of literature and science. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say that 20 years of the Nigeria Prize for Literature, great commentaries on Nigerian entries so far, are all a testimony to what the prize has done in instilling excellence in our literati. As we all gather to celebrate a father's pride, the road does not end, and Wishmaker. Indeed, we will see the advancement in literature made by Nigerians since the last 20 years. I am hopeful that the judges will find one or more of these entries worthy of the $100,000 prize. I'm sure you're all making those conversions in your head. Finally, let me thank you all gathered here today. I'm really impressed about how many of you have turned out for this event, including your own children. Thank you all for coming to celebrate these top writers. Let's use this as an opportunity to unwind, interact, build a bigger network, and of course, enjoy literature. Thank you all.
Please, once again, a round of applause for Dr. Sophia Hosfall, GM External Relations and Sustainable Development, and LNG, the designate. I would like to mention that Andy O'Day, who is the GM External Relations and Sustainable Development, could not make it. His flight was cancelled, but he's currently with us online. I would also like to say that I see Charles Epele, who is the Manager, Community Relations and Sustainable Development. Please, a round of applause. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause. I also can see Sir Denye Godson, who is the Manager, Government Relations. Thank you very much. Also in our midst is Dr. Sam Dede, veteran actor. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much. Also with us, a former Commissioner for Health, Dr. Amy Membere Otaji. Please, a round of applause. It's not here yet. Okay. All right. To the next item on the list, as they come in, we would mention their names. Once again, thank you. To the next item on the list, it's time for stage presentation by the Victory Christian Academy children, led by Karina Okodo. Please, a round of applause for them, the Victory Christian Academy children, led by Karen. Okodo.
Na me with the wash una car. Na me with the cook no. Na me with the wash una cloth. Na me with the work for your shop. Na me with the work.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Okodo Karina, and I'm here with my friends representing Victory Christian Academy. We'll be presenting a short piece titled On the Streets by Hafsat Abdullahi. We hope you find it entertaining. I grew up on the streets. And here on these streets, we have dreams and aspirations, making innovations in devil's workshops. Here hungers the drive, and we only thrive to survive here on these streets. Education is key, but what good a key when there are no doors for the poor? We dream dreams because dreams are free, but reality has a fee. You need teachers, you need books, you need to cook ideas that are off the hook. You need an unbreakable mindset that screams, I can. You need a plan and discipline tough enough to withstand the wind that comes to desire to win on the streets. You need uniforms. You need to fit in to be seen. You need thick skin, tough enough to block even bullets, or the poignant scorn of your neighbor's grin each time you dare to try to fly without wings again and again until you break down with realization that no amount of motivation could ever equal education. For what good a fertile ground when there are no seeds to sow? And what good a seed if it never grows? My second piece is titled Africana. The white man wanted to buy a monkey, and so his assistant gave him me. So this is what I had to say. I'm an African, but I'm not a monkey, a gorilla, or a chimpanzee. Yes, we are custodians of the best wildlife. We house the most unique creatures ever to exist in this life, like the African elephant, the lion whose tribe is Judah, the cheetah, and the zebra. Have you looked at an okapi? Or at the beauty of a mountain grazer? We do not bite. We are depictions of conjugality. You should go back to learn your A's and B's and not the stories that they tell you about. Ask us. We are all about family trees. Roots as strong as the mukula, and we only get stronger and better to lekula. We are all about cultural diversity. We believe in unity. The spirit is Ubuntu. Fueba is Ubuntu too. We hail from the land of his son. We are natural bred warriors. We are children of the savannas, the plateaus, the deserts, the mountains, and the valleys. We are the keepers of our grandparents' stories. If Wakanda is something new to you, we have lived our lives with the spirit of the Black Panther. This is the blood of Shaka. This is the soil which birthed greats like Otatama Diwa. We cannot run away from the great musician Shibo. The unique artistry of late legends like Lucky Dube, Oliver Tukuzi, and Paul Ngozi. Africans. So we house the best minerals, from the diamonds, the gold, the platinum, the aluminium, the oils and the gases, from the copper belt to the city of gold. Why do you think they scrambled for Africa? We are a world which exists within a world, and we do not believe in banting. We believe in wanting to eat what we want to eat, and you're not a welcome guest in our house if we don't ask you to eat. We love our Shisanyama, our Carpenter Wizaza, or Tutelem Balala down south. Our jollof rice and egusi soup in the west, our posho in the east, and we go all the way up close to taste kushari in Egypt. We are professionals of cultural, colorful cuisines, as colorful as our clothes, as we wrap ourselves now, than shikis, kentes, ankaras, and colorful shitengas. And we do not forget to wear our head ties, as we carry our pride with us. After all, we are the birthplace of civilization and not the forces of a sunken city. You called us a dark continent. We are not a dark continent, and our climax is not on a dark night. We are Batmen. Maybe we just got in bed with you too early, which led to the launch of your global poverty prevention, the birth of your philanthropies, you see, leaving us only with aid or AIDS. Who needs chains for the 21st century slave? Because benevolence, slavery is a mind game where one thinks emancipation, just an ocean of imagination. And you can walk in, but never get wet. And I can still hear them bidding. Stop bidding. So the white man wanted. The white man bid the highest, and the assistant gave him me when he said he wanted a monkey. Do you think the assistant was white? He was black. Africa is not for sale. Thank you.
Please, a proper round of applause for Karina Okodo. Indeed, Africa is not for sale. As you already know, the genre for this year is the children's literature, and such a wonderful piece, once again, by Karina Okodo. Up next is the quiz on the prizes with giveaways, and to help us with this, I will invite Mr. Kenneth George Kalu. Please come up to the podium. Thank you very much. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to say, please pardon me, it's time for kids to play. It's adults. Adults can wait for a second while we have our time. For a second, we think, we've forgotten that this is all about kids and children. So, we'll take out 5 minutes, enjoy ourselves. If you want to play the game as an adult, you're free to. Win something for yourself, lovely prizes. So that's what we'll be doing in the moment. But this is about the Nigeria Prize for Literature. So today, you prove yourself and tell us how much you know about the prize. Well, we're going to do this digitally, and we're going to use a software called Menti. And I would like for you to bring out your phones, fastest fingers, and you'll win yourself lovely prizes. Is everyone ready tonight? No, you're not. Are you ready tonight? I feel like Santa Claus. I want to give you something. Are you ready tonight? Nah, I'm not encouraged. Motivate me. Are you ready tonight? Who wants to win something? I want to see hands. Who wants to win something? Okay, thank you so much, sir. I think I'm going to give you something on the house just before the game starts. You're good with that? Okay, so I'll get you a bottle of Coke. Is that fine? All right, so if you look up to the screen, I'm sure you can see the, oh, hold on. Can I have the other mic? Because I need to move around. I'm feeling very, Yeah, thank you. Playtime, so I'm not supposed to be up there. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is how this will happen. If you bring out your phone, I'm sure you can get to, well, you can't see clearly, but if you can't see, join at menti.com, use the code 51271392. So you can join the platform. If you're ready to play the game, join at menti.com, use the code 51271392. Are we ready? Are we ready? We said fastest fingers. What is no? Okay, so while we're preparing to shake this up, the last time we had this game last year was quite interesting. I was jealous of the winner of that prize because, it wasn't so much of a fast finger thing because that person wasn't just fast. The person was just lucky. Do you believe that? Does luck take chances over smartness, speed, or whatever? I think luck doesn't, though. We can prove it today. Fastest fingers, are you ready? Can you imagine? How do you want to win? It's very easy. Okay, code is 51271392. You want me to say that again? 51271392. Yet we're talking about fast. Very interesting. Okay. Who's ready? Let me know, please. Who and who's ready? Please mind with us, so we just want to play for a bit before we go back to serious business. Remember, it's for kids today. We're celebrating children's literature. And see how colorful our board is today. Are we ready? You still want the code one more time? 51271392. Just in case you don't get it right, Menti is spelled MENTI.com. MENTI.com. Use the code 51271392. Are we ready? All right now. So, we'll ask the first question. Fastest fingers. We're going to pick 5 winners, by the way, just so you know. So buckle up. Are we good to go, Tech? Flag me the first question, please. All right, here we go. Nigeria Prize for Literature runs a 4-year cycle in what order? I'm sure you can see it on the phone, so I wouldn't have to call the options. Okay. Seem to have very smart people here. 14. 9. Okay, so 9, the other 2 options are tying. Well, let's move on to the next question. I will not worry about who and who got 14. Who is the current chairperson of the NPL Advisory Board? What's going on here? We're actually seeing fastest fingers here. Serious. Before I would even finish the question. Oh, 70. We have smart and fast people here. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next question then. I see people playing Ojoro. How are we having 27 at the last minute? Next question, please. Tech. Next question. Oh, I don't know if you're playing Ojoro too. Okay, so 2 out of 3 questions. 1 more question to go. The following are members of the 2024 NPL panel of judges except tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. Here we go. Oh, there you go. Not so smart after all. We have 10 people. Just 10. Very few people. 21 people failed. You are fast. See, luck will not help you this time. Sorry. So, okay, with these 3 questions we've asked, Tech, are we going with these ones? More questions? More questions or we're good with this? No, not you. The NPL 2024 is the Dash edition of the prize administration. People are answering even before it ends. 2021. I think it's enough now, Tech. All right, so 3 questions answered, and now we will find out the fastest fingers. Or are you doing more questions? There's no room for re-election here, just so you know. See, this is what I'm saying. What is the prize sum of the Nigerian Prize for Literature? There is Expo. Don't think you're so smart. You already heard it before. Okay? We agree. Any more questions? All right. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. Who is Belle? Belle? All right, a round of applause for Belle. Belle is the winner of the first round. Please, can you stand up, please? Mommy, well done. So, we're doing the next round, yeah? Or just one round? Just one round. Okay, so the winner of our prize is Belle. A round of applause for Belle. Sorry, I don't know why. Please stand up. She's a mommy. Do you understand it now? It's for children. She's a mommy. She can connect with the vibes here, you know. So, Belle, please come forward. Let's. Okay, sorry. I've just been informed that we will do the presentations later. For now, we would have to take on the next stage presentation. Thank you, by the way.
Hello. All right, thank you. So at this point, we will have another stage presentation. But before I invite the children who will be performing, I'd like to quickly indulge you to give a round of applause to Lina Okara, Esquire, who is the Director, Commercial and Industrial Development, NDDC. Please, a round of applause. Thank you very much. Once again, as you already know, the genre for this year is children's literature. And so we will be having a lot of children performances or another children performance. And this time it is by active players led by Dan Podo. Please, are you ready? Active players, are you ready? Active players, are you ready, please? All right, please, a round of applause as they make their way to the podium. Thank you very much once again. Active players indeed. A round of applause for them, please. For those of you watching online, and for those of you from outside Rivers State, you just saw a display of the Ijo tribe, the tradition of the Ijo people. Rivers State is a multi-ethnic state with over or about 30 languages, indigenous languages, and you just saw one of them, the Ijo tribe, being displayed here for us. Once again, please, a round of applause for active players led by Dan Podo. Thank you very much. Now, we will move to very serious business. As you can see, the chairs are being arranged. It is time for an interaction with the writers. We will be interacting with them. As some of you know, literature is a simulation of reality. So we will be understanding some of the intricacies as to why they have written what they have written. Once again, the genre for this year is children's literature, and because it is the 20 years of the Nigeria Prize for Literature, we really want to have that interaction with the writers to understand how they got to where they are right now. So to help us moderate this session, I would like to invite Barrister Ibelema Green. She is a policy consultant and she will be our moderator. And alongside Ibelema Green will be some children. There is Delight Moses from Elliott Mary High School. Please, Delight Moses, a round of applause. She has a very wonderful smile. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you very much. Also, Chizoram Ogwanu, please, from Charles Dale Memorial College. Please make it to the podium. Thank you very much. Please, can we have a mic for Ibelema Green, please? Please, can we have the mic? Thank you. Oh, okay. I think, please, we would need another mic for the children. Sorry? It's okay. All right. Okay. I think it's saying this will work. Over to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This session promises to be very exciting. We're going to be having the video for the authors play right now, and then we'll be having the authors up on stage, and then we'll go right into the interactions. Today, my job is simple. I moderate the panel, but the people who ask the questions are these delightful kids with me. I have Delight Moses, and she's as delightful as her name sounds. I have Brian also, and they will be engaging our authors and asking questions. So media, please, the videos for the authors.
A multi-talented author and advocate for education, children's rights and cultural awareness, Ndidi has written extensively for young ones, producing, among others, picture books, early chapter books and teen fiction. Her notable works include A Hero's Welcome, longlisted for the Nigeria Prize for Literature 2019, and One Little Mosquito, winner of the Association of Nigeria Authors ANA Prize for Children's Literature in 2009. Others are Mina and the Birthday Dress, My Fruits, My Alphabet, I Will Always Eat My Food, Timmy and the Barber, translated into several African languages, and Stories of Our Land, a collection of folk tales from different ethnic regions of Nigeria. Her short story, Oso Ochu, was published in Wings of Dawn, an anthology of works by Nigerian female writers, a project supported by the British Council in 2006. Her novel, If They Tell the Story, won the 2022 ANA Prose Prize. As an advocate of education beyond the classroom, she has conducted numerous creative writing workshops and reading promotion projects for school children in Lagos and Ogun State. The Rainbow Book Club and Nigeria LNG welcomes Ndidi, Chiazo, and Enmore to Port Harcourt UNESCO World Book Capital 2014 and home to Nigeria LNG.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ndidi.
Winner of the 2021 Nigeria Prize for Literary Criticism, among several other laurels, Uche is an assistant professor in the Department of English at the University of Calgary, Canada. His poetry collection, There's More, is currently on the shortlist for the 2024 Alberta Book Publishers Award. His next poetry collection was one of the winners of the 2023-24 Alberta Foundation for the Arts and will be published in North America by the University of Calgary Press and in Nigeria by Masobi Books. His critical works have been published in the Journal of African Literature Association, Metacritic, Men and Masculinities, Journal of African Cultural Studies, Post-Colonial Text. His other published works include Double Wahala, Double Trouble 2021, Wishmaker 2021, and he's a co-editor of Wreath for a Wayfarer in 2020. The Rainbow Book Club and Nigeria LNG welcomes Peter Uzumreki to Port Harcourt UNESCO World Book Capital 2014 and home to Nigeria LNG. Playwright, novelist, and essayist Familoni has written plays for stage and radio, screenplays, short fiction, and essays on music and pop culture. He wrote the screenplay for the short film My Brother's Keeper for the Afri-Nolly Ford Foundation Cinemas for Change project in 2014. His debut play, Every Single Day, was selected by the British Council for production as part of the 2016 Lagos Theatre Festival. His debut collection of stories, Smithereens of Death, won the 2015 A&A Prize for Short Stories. His poetry chapbook, Love is a Profusion of Roses Growing from the Barrel of a Gun, was second runner-up for the 2020 Libretto Chapbook Prize. His I'll Call My Brother For You won the 2020 A&A Prize for Children's Literature. His novel manuscript, Becoming Nothing of Bodies, was longlisted for the 2023 Island Prize. His play, When Big Masquerades Dance Naked, was longlisted for the 2023 Nigeria Prize for Literature and won the 2023 A&A Prize for Drama. His works have appeared in numerous literary journals, magazines, and anthologies from different parts of the world. The Rainbow Book Club and Nigeria LNG welcomes Olubunmi Familoni to Port Harcourt UNESCO World Book Capital 2014 and home to Nigeria LNG.
All right. Welcome, sir. You're very welcome. Please be seated. Great. So we're going to go right into the business, but I want to give you a brief introduction of the books. And you should buy the books. They are very amazing. So we'll start with, on our table, we were discussing what our favorite books were. So we'll start with The Father's Pride. The Father's Pride is about a young lady who lost her father and had to go to the city to live with her aunt and was maltreated, abused, but found her resilient spirit through culture and through the support of family and friends and education. I hope I did it justice. Fantastic. Then, The Road Does Not End is a beautiful book that explores the theme of how children perceive death, how they walk on the streets, street hawking, and every sort of vice on our streets today. On our table, the children had very interesting things to say, but I would let them share it. The final book is by our author who is not here, but he'll be joining us online, and it's about magic, wishes, kindness, values. But you have to read the book to really understand. But the children will be asking questions, and in the questions that they ask, you might find that you will be very interested in what they have to say. So my job is simple. I'm going to hand over to Brian and Delight, and they're going to be engaging you in the questions. So we're going to start with Delight. Delight, who would you like to ask the question?
Okay, good day everyone. My name is Delight Moses, and first of all, I want to simply start with a father's pride. Okay, first, I actually want to say that you did an amazing job writing this book. It's very, very educational, very entertaining, and most of all, very, very heartfelt. As in, when I started reading the book, I couldn't put it down. I loved it, and it was my personal favorite. So I want to say thank you for doing such an amazing job in writing children's literature. But I have a few questions on the book. My first question is, what actually inspired you to write a book about child abuse?
Thank you. Okay, the Nigerian Population Commission states that more than 50% of Nigerian children undergo one form of abuse or the other. Emotional abuse, physical abuse, and all sorts of abuse. And then I've seen this thing happen around me. When I was growing up in the city of Aba in Abia State, we had a neighbor who was maltreating her house help. And coincidentally, the child's name is Ndidi. Yes, so every morning she would shout, Ndidio, come and fetch water. This girl keep on fetching water. And I was a teenager then, and I was just wondering, how come the adults around me didn't do anything? Nobody did anything. So I don't know, eventually they moved out from the block of flats where we were living. So till today, I don't know whatever happened to that girl. And then when I got newly married and had my first child, I had a house help living with me. Then one day I ran into an old schoolmate of mine in Lagos, and she eventually visited me. And my house help was eating with an egg. And she was asking me, Ndidi, why are you giving your house help egg? And I'm like, egg? What is the big deal? She said, no, if you're giving them egg and meat, they have the tendency to start stealing. Yeah. So all these things, there are so many other instances, so many. I don't want to take so much time, but I was observing things around me. It happens every day. So that was my motivation for writing A Father's Pride.
Good day, everyone. To everyone present, I thank you for being here. My name is Chizor Mubwanu, and I want to ask a question to Mr. Olunbonmi Familoni. I want to start with, I really enjoyed your book. I personally am Igbo, and I don't know much about Yoruba culture. And reading the book, it really showed me a new perspective on how other people think, other people who are not really related to me by culture. So my question really is, how does a person really talk to the bata? Because in Yoruba culture, bata, the talking drum, it says that when someone plays the bata, the beats, you open your heart to it, and it really tells you what it's saying. So I want to understand, how can someone really understand what the drum is saying if all they're hearing is just beats?
Thank you very much for that question. I've not had that question from anybody, even from adults, not even from adults. So, and it's a very interesting question, yeah. But I'll first address what you had said about culture. We know how very diverse Nigeria is as far as culture goes. Multicultural, hundreds of these cultures crisscrossing around the nation. And there's also a lot of interaction among these cultures as well. And most of the times, when we talk about culture or we think about culture, we relegate how children also interact with culture to the background. Most of the time, it's just about how adults. So that's why I said it was a very brilliant way that he started. He talked about him being Igbo and him having to interact with something in the Yoruba culture. So there's something that literature does. Why? And that's why I feel children's literature is also very important as well. Children's literature opens children to these other cultures as well. Yeah. So it's not even only about cultures in Nigeria as well. So if you read, for example, Harry Potter is very popular. There are a lot of people that they have learned about, it's not entirely about the British culture, but yeah, they have learned things about the British culture from Harry Potter. They've learned, just like he's saying now, he has learned a few things about the Yoruba culture from reading my book. So that's like a very important thing. So I think that's one of the very, very important things that children's literature does, especially in a country like Nigeria. So thank you very much, for that insight. So yeah, getting to the bata. Now, about the bata. The bata is not the bata. Sorry, why am I calling it bata? The bata. I'm a Yoruba man, so I have to pronounce it very well. The bata drum is not the only drum. There are hundreds of drums that have different significances in Yoruba culture. Now, why I'm not going to be able to answer that question how you would want is that drumming is a very serious thing. It's so serious in Yoruba culture that I'm sure you must have noticed it in the book, that it gets passed down through generations. So there are families, they are called Anyon. So if you see anybody that has Anyon as a prefix in his name, like Anyon Leke, Anyon is a drummer. So they come from a drummer's family. They come from a drumming family or a family of drummers. So his father will pass on the skill of drumming to him. So the only person that can answer that question very well is somebody who comes from that family, who understands, not just, for me, I understand only the cultural significance of it, but there's also a spiritual aspect to it as well. That's the way that they can listen. That's why in that book you'll notice that the boy kept talking, or his father kept telling him about him opening his heart. It's not just opening your ears. And when you're talking about opening your heart, that is no longer a physical thing. It's no longer just about drumming. And that's why in Yoruba culture, and I think in a lot of other cultures in Nigeria, and even outside of Nigeria as well, drumming is an integral part of their religious activities, an integral part of their spiritual activities as well. So that's why that question about the bata, there's the spiritual aspect to it, and I'm not qualified to answer that part because I'm not from a drummer's family. But yes, it's very important in cultural aspects in Yoruba land as well. So what I'm just going to say is that, I don't know, you probably can read up on it. There's a lot of material, on it that you can learn, that people that have come from drumming families, can take you through properly. But I'm not going to lie, I'm not.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bumi. A round of applause for them. Interesting aspects of the book have been brought out. You really need to read the book because I was a bit concerned because the themes were very mature. Death, music, spirit, street hawking, abuse. But it was interesting to read the book from the children's point of view. Delight, you have a question for Mr. Who? Uche. Great, let's have it. Welcome, Mr. Uche. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Good day, Mr. Uche Chukwu Peter Mizurike. I love your book, and let me tell you a little bit about my sister. That's actually my sister's favorite book, The Wishmaker, because when I was reading it, she just decided to pick it up and read it, and she said that, wow, she loves the book. It's so interesting. It teaches her this, teaches her that. So it just allowed her. And this book actually talked a lot about faith. It talked a lot about trust. So my question for you is that, number one, is your book trying to say that we can trust strangers? Because for me, it goes against everything that my parents teach me. They're like, always, don't trust strangers. Don't trust strangers. When you're going out, don't talk to strangers if you don't know them, except you have permission from them. So is your book saying that children can trust strangers?
Thank you very much. I think that's a wonderful question. Excuse me. And please send my deepest appreciation to your younger sister. Yeah, so this book, one of the things it tries to explore is difference. How do we deal with people who are different from us? Whether it's based on how they look, how they talk, where they are from, whether they are the same tribe or ethnic group as us, or whether they have the same religious affiliation. And so in this book, I try to explore what it means to trust, the risk involved in trusting, but more importantly, to think about the human connection. And so, you have this 9-year-old character, Ebele, who is living with his poor mother, who has certain wishes for the mother to fulfill. But because the mother is poor, she can't care for his needs. And so I wanted to see how this young boy can believe in himself, can overcome his fear. Because one of the fears I have is drowning. Actually, I had survived drowning in 2 lagoons in Lagos, because I grew up in Lagos. So I survived one in Badia, I survived one in Ajegule. And so, meeting a stranger was just a way to think about the human. What connects us? Is it because we are different? Is it because we look strange? And is it because we've been told certain things that prevent us from taking some risk, from going on some adventure in order to overcome our fears? So, thank you for that question, and I look forward to the next question.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. A round of applause for Mr. Uche, please. Now, there's a quote I really like, which is why I want everyone in the audience to be engaged. It says that if a children's story is only good enough for children, it's not a good story at all. Every story has a lesson, and as Mr. Uche has said, it was a book on trust, exploring faith, and exploring everything that comes with the fears of strangers. Intangibles are very hard to explain, even to adults, but when someone can write a book and teach intangibles to children, then best believe that's a great book to read. So I'm going to allow the children ask their next question because they had a lot of questions. So who's going first? Delight? Or should we hand it over to the boy child, like you say? All right, Brian.
Okay. I have a question for Mrs. Ndidi. In the book, when Auntie Oloma goes to Irena's house to pick her up so they can go back to Lagos, you can see Auntie Oloma scanning the room. Everywhere is dusty, everything is broken down. She's judging her sister, her biological sister, who she has lived with her whole life. Like, they have been together their whole childhood. And I want to say, how did they treat each other as kids? If she really judged her like that, if she was not really kind to her. Because later in the book, you can see how that she treats her friends like her own sister. But to her own sister, she treats her like she's not good enough. So that's all I wanted to ask.
Thank you. You know, sometimes when people become better than their family members, they tend to distance themselves from their family members. It's like a status thing. Maybe they are not good enough to relate with them. So I could see that happening with Auntie Loma and her sister. Her sister didn't go to school. She wasn't educated. So apparently Auntie Loma had more opportunities. She has a good job in Lagos and all of that. But we should learn to carry our family members along. When you're better than them, try to assist, you know. So that book is about kindness, love, and all of that. And then you can see that for the other people who are not even related to Urena, they treated her as family, like Mrs. Ejiro. That is the way it should be. Because in Igbo language, you have an adage that one need a number. It's not always your blood siblings. Some people can treat you better than your siblings can even treat you. So that's exactly what happened in that book. So that book teaches people to be kind to one another. There is always the good side of being kind to people. At the end of the day, Auntie Loma suffers for all she did because she was going to be taken to court for maltreating her niece. So it pays to be kind always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Delight? Yes, I know you had a question for Miss Ndidi, so let's have it.
Okay, my question to you is, your book also talked about, well, how
being a help to our culture and environmental, deforestation. So my question is, how can you advise children, or what steps can you tell children to take in order to promote their culture and protect the environment?
Okay. Children can promote their culture by going back to the grassroots, telling their grandparents to teach them some folk stories, which is an art that is dying out. And it gives me a lot of concern. It bothers me because when I was growing up, after dinner, we sat under the moonlight, tell stories, and it made us to be more bonded to one another. But now you see, it's like life is an individual thing. If you, in cities, you hardly know your next door neighbor. But it wasn't like that. So I want us to go back to those things that made us united as members of the same society. So culture is one of it, storytelling, and then our local languages is also one of the minor themes in the book. A lot of children don't speak their local languages, and I always say there is no reason why a Nigerian child cannot speak a Nigerian language. It doesn't matter whether you're Yoruba or you're Ijobe. The important thing is that you're speaking one Nigerian language. And one way to do this is, as writers, we are responsible for influencing policies, okay? We can influence the educational policies and make sure that children in the early learning stage are taught in the local language of that region where they grow up, because ultimately we will eventually learn English, because English is the language of instruction in schools. So these are things we should take beyond talking. We can actually come up with a communique at the end of this and say, this is what we are submitting to the Nigerian Ministry of Education. Then the issue of our environment, we have climate change and climate change actions. Children can do a lot by disposing of their refuse very well. You separate the plastics. Don't just throw plastics anywhere, because this thing can be eroded back into the streams and oceans and rivers. And the fishes, when they swallow these little plastics, they die, and the whole ecosystem is polluted. So it will affect us one way or the other. So as children, and children are more vulnerable to the adverse effects of climate change because they are tender, they can come up with respiratory, disease or whatever. They can, even more children are coming up with skin cancer because of the hot sun. So I'm advocating that children should plant trees, plant flowers. You can begin from your homes, you can begin from your school. Let us replenish the earth. The trees provide 40% of the oxygen that we breathe in, and it absorbs the carbon. So when we are cutting down trees, we are exposing ourselves one way or the other. So we should go back to all these things. When I was in primary school, we used to have gardens. We planted things, we monitored them, we watched them grow, yes. But now, education has been so commercialized that we lose value of the things that matter. We are talking about, coding. Yes, those things are good, but the private school owners, they are looking for money. They are looking at things that will bring them money, thereby forgetting that the things that really matter. Because it's like we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder, which will explode on ourselves if you don't do something. So everybody is a call to action. Children, parents, teachers, everybody. We should protect our environment. Thank you so much.
Okay, so following from the question, I'm going to, before I ask Brian to ask his question, I'm going to throw a question to all three of you. Your books predominantly have strong themes about values. Was it intentional? Because you talk about kindness. Mr. Uche's book is about kindness in a way. Your book talks about, integrity, death, and dealing with grief and all that. So I'm going to start from you, Mr. Olubunmi. What are the predominant values in the book that you wanted to tell, the story you wanted to tell with values in society?
Thank you for that question. First of all, generally in literature, they talk about how you write. You just write. It doesn't necessarily have to be didactic. It doesn't have to teach you any kind of morals or whatever. That's generally in literature. They look at things like style, how the quality of your language and things like that. But when it comes down to, well, not down in that sense, but when we're talking about children's literature, I think it's very important that we divorce it from how we look at literature. In children's literature, I think it's very important that we focus on values. Why? Because it's at that age, they are the cognitive stage where you have to inculcate the proper values in them. And of course, literature is one of the best ways that you can do that. Yes, there are other media as well. You get there's TV, there's the internet, there are a whole lot of things. But for people who are interested in literature, who are interested in books, literature is a very important way. So that's why, as a writer of children's books, as a writer of children's literature, you can't say you're just writing for writing's sake, or you're just writing. You have to put values. Yeah, you have to put themes, strong themes, at the front of whatever you're writing. So that's why I started with talking about literature in general, first of all. As when you're doing that, you don't really care about. You're writing for adults. They're already adults. Most adults, you can't change most adults. They're already formed in whatever character it is that they are formed. But for children, as I say, they're at that age where, they are just forming their thoughts. They are just forming many of their opinions. So it's very important that as a writer of children's literature, when you are writing, you take that into consideration and you are writing with those strong themes and those values. Now, to the values in my book, I think one of the ones that I think I focused on most had to be, and I say it all the time, had to be perseverance. Perseverance. Once again, I like to look at children's literature or children in relativity to how we look at adults. Most of the time when we talk about perseverance, we're just talking about adults. Like, for example, in Nigeria now, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, Nigeria is tough, parents are going through things. Do you know what children are also going through? So I think it's very important as well, if you are talking about adults' themes, and I also talked about grief as well, yes, that you also, because people die, you don't think about how children are thinking about that person's death. You're just thinking about, somebody has lost their mother, an old person. How is the child also thinking about how she has lost her grandmother? It's not just about how you have lost your mother. That person was a grandmother to a child. So it's very important that we always include the child's perspective. So like I said, it was mostly about perseverance. Whatever adversity that you are going through, as a child, and children really do go through stuff, especially underprivileged children. Yes, especially underprivileged children. It's very important that, yes, it's going to be really tough, but I think it's very important that at the back of your mind, you're probably just 6, 7, 8, 9, you have about 80 years in front of you. So at some point, just know that you're not going to live all those 80 years or 90 years in that same condition. So you have it at the back of your mind that you just have to keep grinding, keep going through whatever you're going through. And at some point, and that's what the main character in that book, that's what happened to, that's what happened. He passed, from street hawking, which was talking about child labor, to begging, at some point, to somebody trying to get him into stealing, at some point, which also teaches us, don't steal. That's very clear. You get into trouble, don't lie, you get all those kind of things. But with every stage that he was passing through, he didn't give up. He didn't say, now I've come to the end of it. I'm just going to sit back, or I'm just going to do something really bad. Don't get into anything bad. Persevere. And trust me, I'm sure you must have heard it a lot of times. There's light at the end of the tunnel. If there was no light at the end of the tunnel, nobody would say there's light at the end of the tunnel, because there's actually light at the end of the tunnel. So that's what it is.
Awesome. So, a round of applause. A round of applause. Amazing. Mr. Uche, we're going to hear from you about the values in the wish maker. Mr. Uche, are you there? Have we lost him?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the values in the wish maker, yes, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you again to Delight, to Brian. And so there are so many values I'd like to explore in Wishmaker. We mentioned first kindness, but there's also an emphasis on friendship.
Fantastic.
And forgiveness. Because you see, the protagonist, the village, the 9-year-old protagonist in the story suffered bullying because he was poor. So one of the themes I tried to explore also was poverty and the courage to believe in yourself, the courage to face your fears, the courage to show kindness even when you are poor.
Okay.
And
great.
so in the end, you notice that this boy, even though he fought with his friends, he also felt remorseful.
Exactly.
Because he realized that the mom had told him not to fight, even when people insult or discriminate against you. So one other thing was also discrimination based on social status.
Fantastic.
Whether you are poor, the other person is rich. And in the end, you see that even though this boy has been able, with the help of the stranger, whom I used as a metaphor for difference, whether it's ethnicity, whether you are
okay.
Igbo, Hausa.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, which was a metaphor to explore difference and strangeness. You see that in the end, Ebele was able to think about sharing all they have, which he had been able to get through magic, with the poor neighbors.
Okay, great.
And so I wanted to explore all these things: poverty, the struggles of a single mother, bullying, courage, kindness, and perseverance. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. A round of applause for all our authors. They're doing so well. So the children are going to ask some more questions, but it's important to note that in the discussion about values, especially today, where you have a lot of our values eroding, storytelling is such a big tool. Books. It's easier to tell a child to read a book about a value than tell the child, do not steal. When you create a story around a value, children accept it more and it gets into them. It's just like music. But this time, reading is really music with words. So it's important. Children first learn to read at the laps of their parents. A child who you're always shouting at to read is not reading because you're not reading. So maybe you want to look into that and then pick up a book and have a family evening where you just read. Can we do that? Can we do that? Great job. All right. Your best book was, what was your best book?
The Road Does Not End.
All right, so okay, we'll ask you another question. Probably this time not about bata. Abi, is it bata? Bata. When she was talking about the language, I just realized that I don't know how to speak my language. I'm just going to quietly remove myself from the discussion. Yes.
Okay, so we know that Auntie Biliki, according to your book, kept forcing Real One to always go on the street hawking to everybody around, trying to make a living for his auntie. And finally, when he's rescued by Saka Pepe, a Fuji musician, Auntie Biliki comes to the hospital after he has been harassed by some people who got him into a begging business. And when he's there, Auntie Biliki looks concerned for him. So I want to ask, she looked sorry. She felt sorry for what she did. But do you think that Real One was supposed to forgive her? Or is there a condition for forgiveness?
Fantastic question. I've never thought about that question before. But now that you have brought it up, I'm thinking about it now. And yes, it's very important. Even though, the theme, or it wasn't one of the themes in the book, just like Uche said that it was one of the themes in his book. But forgiveness, yes, is very important. But I think, in that case, when you think about it, it was more about fear for him. Again, not wanting to relate with her, because I think that's what you're talking about, because, he kind of just cut her off. He didn't want to relate with her. So it was fear. She had instilled that fear in him. There are many parts in the book where after he had left her, he kept on repeating that he didn't want to go back there. So it wasn't him not wanting to go back there, wasn't about he didn't want to forgive her. Yes, and when we're even talking about forgiveness, there has to have been an instance of hurt, and you have to have accepted that you have been hurt. So I think for Real One, it wasn't even him feeling that he had been hurt. It was fear. If you really read the book, most of the time he was scared of his auntie. So that's why I said, you have to first of all have felt hurt. It's not as if he didn't feel hurt, but hurt was not the emotion that was at the fore of his mind. It was fear. That was the first thing. So he wasn't thinking, do you get what I'm trying to say now? So when you are scared like that, it's self-defense that comes. You're trying to protect yourself, you're trying to defend yourself. So him cutting her off, him not wanting to relate with her anymore, was more a matter of protecting himself, protecting his space, and self-defense. So it wasn't a matter of not forgiving. That's why I said I didn't explore that matter of forgiveness, because I also didn't explore the matter of him thinking about himself as being hurt. If you read it, you see that most of the time, I even kept using the word fear. He was always afraid. That's even one of the major reasons why he kept running from Saka Pepe, because he felt that he was going to take him back to his auntie. So by the time he met Saka Pepe and that Alaji Danku, he felt protected by them, and that protection was from his auntie. So it wasn't a matter of forgiveness. I don't know. We are not going to know whether he forgave her or not. That's the beautiful thing about literature. Yes, but one thing that we know at the end is that he was protected. And just to round it off, speaking about protection, I think that's one very important thing that the community needs to do for children, especially the most vulnerable ones. And once again, I'll say the most vulnerable ones are the underprivileged ones. Protection is very important. Yeah, you're thinking protection from what? We're not going to start talking about protection. There are a lot of things that they need to be protected for. So protection is paramount. Really.
A round of applause, please. I like the fact that there are different things that everyone, they're relatable, right? There's kindness, there's perseverance, especially when we have children in this category, where a lot of children don't have a lot of grit as they should. And stories will help. These stories, this is the idea for literature. This is why it is very exciting for me to sit here and listen to themes being explored in children's genre. So well done, well done, well done. All right, Delight, you had a question for Mr. Uche.
Okay, my question goes to both Mr. Uche Chukwu and Mr. Olubunmi.
Awesome.
Now, as a writer, just like I've heard you guys say, in your books, there's always a message that is being passed. So I want to ask, what message are you trying to pass through your book? Because you just talked about the values that you were trying to install in the book, but the real message coming from the book, what do you do? I just want to know what you really wanted the message to be.
I think, like I mentioned before, you have to persevere. But yeah, some of the other messages, and I think there's somebody, I think it was Uche that had also mentioned the importance of relationships, the importance of friendships, especially friendships that are formed in childhood. And I say that a whole lot. You see people who have had friends from primary school. You see them, probably they're in their 40s or in their 50s now. Those are some of their closest friends. If you could keep that friendship, you get through that. And there's something really fulfilling about friendship, is that you can trust in that person. Yeah, we live in a very, and I think it was Ndidi that had mentioned it, we live in a world that has become very individualistic. All man for himself, as they say. Everybody just cares about himself. We are no longer communal. We're no longer living as a community. So imagine you're an individual, but you have that one person, you have 2 people, 3 people who are your trusted people. You know that you can always go to this person as a confidant. Person can trust you as a confidant, as well. So friendship was very important, and that's what Real One and Moshood had in the book. They had that friendship. And one thing also that comes from friendship, which is also very important, which is a theme that I think is recurrent in the 3 books, and I think in many of the books that are on the long list as well, is kindness. As well. Kindness is one of the most important values in the world. If you talk about, people talk about love, you can't talk about love without talking about kindness. You can't love someone if you are not kind to them. I think kindness is even more important than love. You don't really have to love, but if you are kind to, it's about humanity. Yeah, if you are kind to if you have kind leaders, you won't be living how you're living. If you have kind parents, you'll be very happy in your home. If you have a kind husband, you'll be very happy in your home. They might ask you that, does your husband love you? You're not very sure about it, and that's the funny thing about love. But you can always be sure about kindness. You can always be very certain about kindness. So that's why I feel kindness is one of the most important. And we saw that play out in the book, in my book, in Indidi's book, in Uche's book as well. So I think that's also one of the very important messages in that book. Be kind to everybody, irrespective of wherever it is they're from.
Yeah, so Mr. Uche, the question was also directed.
Thank you very much. So, Delight, I'm going to tell you 2 things. You are an amazing literary critic.
Thank you.
A round of applause, please. She is.
An astute reader of literature.
Yes, she is.
I like the distinction you made between messages and values. Now, as a writer, I write with an aim of instilling values to children. But then, I don't write with an aim of including messages in my book, because reading a novel is like standing before a table full of so many varied food. So each person comes to literature, they may like jollof rice, they may like amala, they may like yam porridge, they may like akara. So each child reader decides what message they want to make out of the novel they've read. So I can't say this is how I want you to read my work, because the way you process, the way you make meaning out of the work rests solely on you. And so I just want you to have this image of a novel as a buffet. Come to the table, serve yourself, take what you like, and then decide whether you enjoy what you've eaten / read. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ocho. Thank you so much. So we're getting to the end of this session, and I'm very sure you have been educated, right? Have you been educated? Are you curious enough to want to buy the books and read the books? Fantastic, great. So I'm going to be taking like 2 questions from the crowd. I have a child who wanted to ask a question on street hawking. Is there a way I can go to get the mic to her? Brian, you're going to help me. So please, you're going to go to the young lady over there. She has a question to ask on our table. Great. A round of applause for him. Brian is doing so well today. So when we're on the table, she had a very interesting question about your book.
Okay.
Please introduce yourself, my darling.
Naomi Gibbs Benale from Alajumo International High School. And I have a question for Mr. Familoni. Okay, first, my question is that, does Mr. Saka Pepe and Alhaji Dunka, do they really need real one for their economic success, or they just need him because they love him?
Yeah, very, very interesting question. That's something else I also never thought about. But yeah, and that's why children are very, they are very, I like the way they think, because they don't think like adults, really. So, to answer the question, first of all, for his aunt, Auntie Biliki, needed him for that economic sustenance, because everything he was making from hawking, so I'm trying to make a distinction here, between everything he was making from hawking. We know that every time he got back home, she was taking it from him, under the guise of, we are using it to feed and all of that. But when you really think about it, you're also hawking. I mean, you have a trade. Why can't you use that to feed and send the boy to school? You get? So it was just a guy to just use him, to make some money. Now, that was the difference. That's where the distinction will be made with Alaji Danku and Saka Pepe. And I like the fact that he said that was it just that they liked him. Yes. When Saka Pepe had met him, he just took a liking to him. That happens, in life. There's destiny, there is fate. Some of that would have played a part, in this as well. But he took a liking to him. There's that. And then there's also the matter of what I talked about, kindness as well. He felt, and I think that's also something that I think a lot more people should explore as well. It's also one of the things in the book. I mean, we have like over 18 million out-of-school children, in the last count that we had. Now imagine if, and we're like over 250 million people in Nigeria. So imagine if each person took it upon them. So I know it's not an easy thing, and I know some people in Nigeria do it. Each person, takes one person and says that, okay, I'm going to send this person, you get through school, through formal education, and all that. So that's exactly what Saka Pepe did. Because his interest, he became even more interested when he heard that the boy was out of school. He wasn't going to school. So that's where the interest now even became stronger, that, I'm going to take it upon myself to take him under my wing and send him, you get through. You can see that they weren't even concerned that he wanted to be a singer. If you remember very well, they kept talking about how, okay, yeah, you can be a singer, but the first thing is you have to get an education. That was very important. So for them, it was that. So I hope that answers your question. So you can see that for them, it wasn't an economic thing. It wasn't about them making any kind of gains from him. Even though I didn't also explore the matter of, when he started having commercial success as a child singer, whether all the returns were going to whoever it was going to. That was not what the book was about. But I'm sure in their kindness, all the returns would have just been, they probably opened some accounts for him or something. So it wasn't about that commercial success or that economic gain for those two men that helped him. It was just about kindness for them, and also, very importantly, about putting yet another child through the process of formal education, really.
I also have another
Great
question
job.
for you.
Great job. You have another question?
Yes.
We don't have all the time, so I would like him to ask a question, and then maybe later we'll interact with the authors. Great job. Awesome. A round of applause for her, please. All right. Great.
My question, good day everyone, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Okole Francis, representing Aladuma International High School. So my question goes to Mr. Fabiloni. I want to ask, why was Auntie Biliki always cursing Vilwan's late parents? Was it that she was pained by their death, or she just naturally hated them?
I think it was more out of frustration, because we saw that she was also a poor woman. And if you remember very well in the beginning of the book, when there had been a family meeting, it was just as if they foisted the boy on him. It was something she was unprepared for. So she had been living her life alone, going about her life, and then suddenly out of nowhere, go and start taking care of a child. You expect me to feed him, you expect me to clothe him and all of that. So she was taking out all that frustration on the boy. And of course, in taking out all that frustration, who is she going to blame? The parents who disappeared, the parents who died. Why did you have to die and leave your child? You get to me. So all of that anger, do you understand what I'm saying? So all of that anger actually came from that. So that's why she was always cursing the parents. It was a matter of, it was you guys' fault. You guys abandoned this child for me. And of course, they are not around to take out frustration. So she vents that frustration on the child, then also, keeps blaming the parents for leaving the child to her.
A round of applause for all our authors. So I wish we had all day to ask questions, because children have a wonderful perspective on different things. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Delight. Please, a round of applause for Brian and Delight. They did well, didn't they? Very well. Thank you for everyone who has participated so far in this panel discussion. Now, see how we spent 45 minutes exploring values that you would shout and shout and shout. Stories are important. Books are important. And it is important that we start to inculcate the reading culture again. This is why also the Rainbow Book Club is so important, and this prize for literature is one of the best prizes I think has ever been created. Please follow all our hashtags. Get on with the information that we're starting reading clubs. There are a lot of activities that can help you engage your children, your school, and even you as the adult. Some of our hashtags are the Port Harcourt Bookfest, the Nigerian Prize for Literature, the Nigerian Prizes 2004, Rainbow Book Club, and of course, my personal favorite, Port Harcourt World Book Capital and Port Harcourt World Book Capital at 10. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Miss Ndidi. Your book is amazing. Thank you, Mr. Bumi. And Mr. Uche, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Delight. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we will see you another time. See you next year. All right. Yes.
All right, once again, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the panel. Before we go to the next item on the list, I would like to say something very quickly. There is no better person to tell a story than the person who possesses the story. And that's why the Nigerian Prize for Literature is very, very important. I would like to say that the authors who have come here have told a story. I mean, you listen to the panel, the themes, the messages were focused on moral issues, were focused on the environment, and you know what they usually would say, catch them young. So please, I would like it if you, on your way out, would purchase some of the books outside there on the foyer, done by some of the authors who are here. Remember, we have The Wishmaker, we have A Father's Pride, and we have The Road Does Not End. So please do us a favor. And once again, I'd like to reiterate the hashtags. We have hashtag Port Harcourt Bookfest. We have hashtag the Nigeria Prize for Literature. We have hashtag the Nigeria Prize 2024. Hashtag Rainbow Book Club. Hashtag Port Harcourt World Book Capital. Hashtag Port Harcourt World Book Capital 10. At 10, I beg your pardon. All right, to the next item on the list, it's time for photographs. But before I do that, I would also like to inform you that we had the Commissioner for Education, Dr. Ovi Chukuma, grace us with his presence briefly, and we'd like to appreciate him for coming here. Remember, once again, it's the Journal for Children, and we're happy he was here. So I would like to invite to the podium, as we start the order of photographs, I would like to invite the General Manager, NLNG, and just give me a minute there so I can get my order of photographs sorted out. But I would like Ibelema Green, Esquire, to please come back to the stage. You and the students who did the interview would like you to come to the stage, please, while I sort out my list for photographs, if you don't mind. Also, I would like to call the founder, Rainbow Book Club, Mrs. Coco Kalango, MON. Please, can you please come to the podium? Thank you very much, so we can take the photographs. I also would like to call the GM, the General Manager, NLNG, to please come to the podium. You didn't write. Okay. The writers should please also come to the podium, please. The authors, the three shortlisted authors should please come to the podium. Hello. So please, can you stand so we can take the pictures? Please hold on a minute, please.
Okay, so thank you, DJ. the other photograph, we would like to call on the GM NLNG and the founder of Rainbow Book Club, and please with the authors. Moderators. With the authors alone, yes, thank you. You can stand here, please. Okay. Okay. All right, ma'am. Cool. Yeah. Online. Okay, yes. I think it's streaming online. So that's the GM NLNG designate and the founder of Rainbow Book Club with the authors. Paparazzi. Paparazzi. Please. Good. Thank you. Okay, right after this, the GM NLNG designate with one representative of each literary group. One representative of each literary group. Okay. Any other person? Okay. All right, so can we have the kids back on stage so you can join the GM and the founder of Rainbow Book Club? Where are the children, please? Moderators. We'll kindly ask our VIPs to join us on stage, please, so you can join the GM and the kids and the authors for the photograph. We would like the representatives of each literary group stand by, please. Harcourt Book Club, Association of Nigerian Authors, Avid Readers Book Club, Reading Association of Nigeria, Teachers Association of Nigeria, Writers Hangout, Seaview Purity Club. One member each, please come to stage for a photograph with the authors. Please come forward. representatives of Port Harcourt Book Club, Association of Nigerian Authors, Readers Association of Nigeria, Teachers Association of Nigeria, Writers Hangout, and Seaview Poetry Club. Please come forward. Please hurry up. Thank you. While this is happening, please, one child from each school here to join in the photograph. On standby, please. One child from each school present. Can the head teachers of the schools or the reps please gather each kid from each school to come and join the photograph? Thank you.
Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Something that we didn't get away our sorrow. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let me show you.
DJ, thank you very much. First of all, it's not time to party yet. People are still chewing. Allow them chew in peace. Okay, so while we're enjoying ourselves, we'll take a brief moment just before the closing remarks. Remember, we had a game here, and I promised I was going to give some people winners of this game prizes. So I'm about to do that. I keep to my words. I'm Santa Ken. I don't have white beards, but neither do I have big stomach, by the way. So, the following are winners of our exciting quiz. Earlier announced, sorry, Mom, is it Miss Bell or Mrs. Bell? Okay, just so I call you right. Mrs. Bell. So some of these names are nicknames, so I'm guessing it's a short form to... So Mrs. Bell, please come forward. Let me keep to my words and give you your prize. Next on the list is... I know you are giving nicknames, but what is Nyenye? Please, what is... Anyways, when you come here first. Arabs. I'm guessing, if you're from this area, you'll know that this is somewhere around Aribiton. Am I right? Am I right? Correct. Arabs. We don't know. Okay. This next person has a nickname, Go T. Who's that? Go T. Or is it Got? Anybody with the name Goatee or Got? Okay, so I'll move on to the next person. Please. Finally, a full name. Zoe Okpere Udo. Anyone here? Zoe. Okay. We're not seeing Zoe, you're clapping. Zoe. All right. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we didn't see God. So we can move on to the next person, right? Is it Charles Dale himself, or is it a representative of Charles Dale? Charles Dale. Is it the entire school? Okay, well done. Combined effort. Please come forward. Yeah. Okay, so we have lovely presents for you. And please put your hands together for them. They are either the fastest, smartest, or luckiest. There you go. So, yeah. We have lovely prizes to give you. And while we're giving these prizes, we also want to state that before the event started, we had some students who got in here really early. So we have decided to reward them for their punctuality. I would name the schools right after I do this presentation. So are you going to do this, or you want me to do the honors? Oh, okay. So please. Okay, thank you. So I've been asked to call on our VIPs here present to do the presentation. I didn't want to disturb you, since we are at this moment enjoying ourselves. But so I would like to call on Charles Epele to help us present these gifts to these winners. And while we're doing that, I'd like to call on the 5 schools. Okay. who were here early enough. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, to Belle, who is the winner of this quiz competition. A round of applause for her, please. So I'm guessing he's the winner. Is it a family business? Thank you so much. A round of applause. Next person. Sorry, sir. Are you Yenye? Yes. Okay. I will find you. Next person is Aribs. What? Oh, you are Aribs. Okay, so Yenye didn't come out. Okay, thank you very much. Anyways. Round of applause for her. And from Charlesdale, thank you very much for participating. Schools. So we need to call on students from, or students. Students. We're giving one bag to each. Okay, so let's have a representative from Enitonia High School. This way. Enitonia High School, please. All of them, yes, please. Sorry. Please go forward. You know them, all 5 of them, right? Okay, so the judgment is that since it's only Enitonia High School that was here earlier, we're giving all 5 students from the same school. And I want to encourage you guys. It's impressive to have you come at least 2 hours before time. That's really, really impressive. Well done, Auntie. Thank you very much. Okay. So, sir, can we borrow you, please? Okay, so, sir. Godson, sir. Sorry, sir. I am sorry. I am sorry, sir. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're calling Godson Denye, Manager, Government Relations and Regulatory Compliance, NLNG. So yes, please, sir, you're presenting the prizes to this. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. A round of applause. Encourage them, oh, please. Thank you very much. It's not easy to be here early before everyone else. You know where Enitonia High School is? Do you know where it is? I'm not sure you know. Borokiri, that's like traveling. And they were here first. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for them. Encourage them. I'm really proud of you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's been quite an interesting event, and I'm sure you all had a great time today. You know, it's funny how while we had the moderators here, I know this is children's literature, but you can imagine how children were asking questions like adults. I'm sure if I was sitting there too, I'll be asking like, what did I ever do to you? There are certain questions you hear from these kids and you wonder. But that's how impressive it is. It's encouraging to have our kids be a part of learning, reading, and writing. Because it's a scarce trait, it's a scarce skill or talent in these times. You see kids bordering on watching screens, their phones, and all of that. But to find children in this day and age who are interested in reading and wanting to learn and engaging the authors in that manner, I think they deserve a round of applause. Thank you very much. I am encouraged by them to continue reading, aren't you? This crowd, come, what is wrong with you people? Your what? We will seize your food. You had better talk to us. Wait, this is a party. I'm sure you're aware of that. This is a party. All this seriousness, please, let's shake this up. Before we take the closing remark, which we're doing right now, but I want to say that right after this, don't just bounce, don't run away, please. We have the authors who will be outside, and if you're interested in buying their books, if you're interested in getting an autograph. Oh my goodness. Set up, sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I might have to come and pay homage, because so if you like to meet with the authors, shake hands, get some autograph, and fraternize a bit, you're free to do that right after this session. And we would also have some party. Now the DJ can display his, he's been disturbing us with that. So while you enjoy yourself, let's quickly call again on Mr. Sorry, sir. Charles. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of punishment after this session, because I have called my chief here several times. Thank you. I am glad.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I greet you all. I'm going to be standing on the already robustly established protocol to make these closing remarks. Honestly, if I have my way, I will decree that this celebration of intellectual excellence continue for the next 2, 3, 4 days. I am enjoying myself, and I feel that most of us are actually having fun too. Unfortunately, because good things do not last forever, and what has a beginning must have an end, I want the end of this show by thanking each and every one of you for being here. I think a lot of that has been said, but in a special way, I will congratulate the authors of the 3 great children's literature works, Ndidi Chiazo Enemo, author of A Father's Pride, Familoni Oluranti Olubumi, author of The Road Does Not End, and Uchechukwu Peter Umezurike, who wrote Wishmaker, not just for churning out these great and thoughtful works for the paper and proper growth and development of our children, but additionally for honoring us with your presence here today. We know that one of us was online, Uchechukwu, and he had a great contribution to the conversations that I've held here today. Additionally, Mr. Andy Ode also, who is online, brings his remarks and comments and actually asks that we start and end as we have started. My thanks also go to the Rainbow Book Club, particularly the convener, Mrs. Coco Galango, for partnering with Nigeria LNG Limited to make this happen. And I think this is the 18th time this is happening. And Madam, we will want you to bring back the book capital to to Rivers State again. In fact, Port Harcourt. To you all who are here to celebrate our shortlisted authors, I want to thank you in a special way. Someday you will all be celebrated, and as we look forward to the grand finale where the winner of the Literature Prize will be announced, I wish you all a happy weekend. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, sir. So I had to go take my lessons. I want to say thank you to Charles Epele, the Manager, Community Relations and Sustainable Development. Thank you very much, sir, for your service today. And I await my punishment in heaven. Okay, so at this moment, for those of you who would like to take more photographs with the authors, you're welcome at this time. If you want to meet the authors right out there at the stand, just outside the door, you can go as well to get your books signed, purchase some books from them. And at the end of that, we can call this a wonderful event and close the day. Don't forget to follow the Rainbow Book Club on social media at Rainbow Book Club Official and at Port Harcourt Book Festival on Instagram and all other social media platforms. Use the hashtags, the NPL 2024. Use the hashtags World Book Capital, Port Harcourt World Book Capital, and use the hashtag NPL 2024. That's it. Thank you very much. It was nice to have you here today. I hope you have a wonderful ride home and be safe. God bless you.